morning. All right, so we're going to start something brand new today that I don't think we've done any of at all this year. We might have done a little bit in Bell work, but that's about it. All right, so we are going to start solving equations, which is going to be a big part of what you do next year in 7th grade math. So we're going to solve equations by adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. And we will use the inverse operations to solve equations. Inverse operations undo each other. So inverse means opposite. So addition and what are inverse operations? What's the opposite of addition? Subtraction. What is the opposite of multiplication? Division. All right, we have a lot of rules to remember, but we're going to go over these over and over and over and over with every problem. So I think you will understand them much better in a few minutes after we practice some problems. So rule number 1, always write the original equation. So for example, if I give you a page from your Big Ideas book, first thing you're going to do is copy that equation onto your paper. We're going to use inverse operations to get the variable by itself. So remember, inverse means opposite. We're going to show all of our work out to the side. We're going to show cancellations. You're going to put a box around your answer. You're going to show your check. Never skip any steps. Each one-step equation should be 4 lines. I want you guys to remember that. Each one-step equation should be 4 lines. Leave room, skip a line between. Okay, so let me show you what we're talking about here. Now zoom into number 1. If I have the equation y plus 4 equals 29, so we've talked a lot about variables, that y is representing an unknown number. So this question is simply asking, what number plus 4 equals 29? And I think we can probably figure that out mentally. But this is how we solve this problem by solving a one-step equation. The first thing I want you to do is draw a line straight down from your equal sign, and I call that a mirror. Like when you check yourself in the morning in the mirror. So a mirror shows a reflection on both sides, right? I really want you guys to get in the habit with this very first lesson and in 6th grade and in 7th grade to get in the habit of showing both steps on both sides. So because we have an equal sign in the middle, that means that both sides have to stay balanced. All right, so let's look at what this means. I see a plus sign in my equation. Remember, we talked about using the inverse operation to solve. Well, the inverse or the opposite of adding is subtracting. The point of solving this equation is to get the y all by itself, which means I have to get rid of plus 4. Well, how do I get rid of a positive 4? I subtract 4. Now that mirror in the middle is showing you that if you subtract 4 on the left, you have to reflect that over on the right. Rule number 4 said show cancellation. So if I look at my positive 4 and my negative 4, 4 minus 4 equals 0. So those two numbers are going to cancel. All I have left is y equals 25. Rule number 5 said box your answer. Now we're going to do what is called substitution. So if you guys play sports, you might need to substitute in for another player. You're going to take their place. You've had substitute teachers in class who have taken my place. So we're going to substitute the 25 for the y. When you substitute, you're going to rewrite this original equation, but instead of saying y plus 4, you're going to substitute the 25 for y. You're going to say 25 plus 4 equals 29. We're checking this to make sure that we did our math correctly up above and we didn't make a mistake and that this statement is true. 25 plus 4 equals 29. 29 equals 29, check. All right, let's take a look at number 2. So our equation is what number minus 13 equals 89? Draw your mirror. That's just a visual reminder that you have to show both steps on both sides. So what I see here is a minus 13. Remember, we're trying to get this m all by itself. So we have to get rid of negative 13. I get rid of negative 13 by adding 13. If I add 13 to the left, I have to add 13 to the right. So negative 13 plus 13 is 0, so that all cancels. All I have left over here is m. 9 and 3 is 12, and that's 10. So m equals 102, and then we put a box around our answer. The next step is called substitution. So now instead of writing m minus 13 equals 89, I'm going to substitute in my solution for m. Now my rule is if you have a 3-digit number, a decimal, or a fraction, you have to show your math. If this was 10 minus 8 on the right side, I would not make you show your math. That's mental math. But if you have a 3-digit number, a decimal, or a fraction in your substitution, you have to show your work. So I'm going to change colors so you can see that is different from, so when it said show all work out to the side, this is what I meant by that. Can't take 3 from 2, can't borrow from a 0, borrow from your 1. I'm going to borrow from my 10. So 12 minus 3 is 9, and 9 minus 1 is 8. Okay, so if we look at 89 and 89, now we can say 89 equals 89, check. Number 3. Now this is multiplication. How do we know that? Because we know that anytime you have a number sitting right beside a variable, it means multiplication. So this equation is asking 5 times what equals 130. Remember, we're trying to get this we're trying to get the x all by itself. Well, how do I get rid of 5 times? Opposite of multiplying by 5 is dividing by 5. Remember in math, we showed division by using a fraction bar. Now I'm going to show my cancellation. On the left side, 5 divided by 5 is 1. So all I have left over here is x. Remember that rule about if you have a 3-digit number, you have to show your work out to the side. So I'm going to slide over here and show 130 divided by 5. And that is 26. So x equals 26, and then you put a box around your answer. The next line is called substitution. This is when we rewrite the original equation, but instead of saying 5 times x, I'm going to say 5 times 26. Is 5 times 26 equal to 230? So now I'm going to check myself over here. I have to show the math because I know this is supposed to be a 3-digit answer. So I'm going to come down here and multiply 26 times 5, and that's 130. So now I can come back over here and say 130 equals 130, check. Now, if your answer would not have been 130, let's say that up here in your original math, let's say that you made a mistake with your long division. Let's say you got 24. If you got 24 over there and you multiplied 24 times 5 and you got 120, well, 120 does not equal 130. That's the reason that we check. If you got 120 equals 130, that means you need to go back to your original math and check your work again. All righty. Remember, a fraction bar in math means division. So this equation is asking what number divided by 12 equals 6? We're going to draw our mirror. Excuse me. We have to get the G all by itself. The opposite of dividing by 12 is multiplying by 12. If you multiply the left by 12, you have to multiply the right by 12. Now remember, cross-canceling with fractions, with multiplying fractions. So right here, I see that I have 12s that I can cross-cancel. Those are going to both cross-cancel down to 1. So all I have left over here is G, and I know that 6 times 12 equals 72. And then I put a box around my solution. The next step is substitution. So I'm going to rewrite what number divided by 12 equals 6. Except I'm going to substitute 72 for G. I'm going to write is 72 divided by 12 equal to 6. Well, I know my math facts, and I know that 72 divided by 12 is 6. So now I can say 6 equals 6, check. Okay, we're going to try 2 more. I'm going to go just a little bit faster now that we've solved 4 together. First step, draw your mirror. Second step, check your sign. I see a plus 13. I know I have to get the P all by itself. I know the opposite of adding 13 is subtracting 13. If I subtract 13 from the left, I have to subtract 13 from the right. 13 minus 13 cancels. All I have left over here is P. Ms. Jardine says if you have a 3-digit number, you have to show your math out to the side. So 200 minus 13, I think, is 187. I'm going to put a box around my answer, and now I'm going to rewrite my original equation, substituting for P. Is 13 plus 187 equal to 200? Those are 3-digit numbers, so I'm going to show my math out to the side. 187 plus 13, yay, is 200. Now I can say 200 equals 200, check. Last one. So this one looks a little bit different because notice the variable is on the right side. I prefer to have my variable on the left. So what you are allowed to do is rewrite the equation. We're going to flip everything from the left to the right and everything from the right to the left. Whoopsies. Okay. I hope I'm still recording. Okay, so we're going to flip everything to opposite sides. So I'm going to take my r minus 6 and flip it to the left. And I'm going to take my 15 and flip it to the right. It still means the exact same thing. I'm going to draw my mirror. I know the r has to be all by itself, so I have to get rid of negative 6. How do I get rid of negative 6? I add 6. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0, so that cancels. And 15 plus 6 is 21. R equals 21. Now I'm going to write my original equation. Substituting for R is 21 minus 6 equal to 15. Yes. 15 equals 15. Check. Alrighty, that is it for today. Email me if you have questions.